I'm getting used to doing these more spontaneous shows where I take some notes earlier and then speak about a topic that is close to my heart and things that have come up that are ruminating in my mind and that I'm meditating on during the week. And I'm quite liking it, getting some very positive feedback from you all. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying these and I'm glad you are too. So today's topic is how to be a sensational networker. What is it that people, when they're networking, do that makes them so skilled at connecting with people? I'd say the first thing they start with is a compliment. So when you're greeting someone in a networking type situation, start with a compliment. This opens up the conversation. It makes the other person feel great. And it just shows the character of who you are. You're seeing the good in someone else. So you're showing that you assume positive intent and that you're able to see the light in others, even upon just meeting someone. So if you can go up to someone and you meet someone, you go, I love that shirt. You are carrying that so well. You look amazing. Whatever it is, you're just adding a bit of light to someone else's life right in that moment. And that draws that person closer. So acknowledge the things that you've spotted about them. It's a bit like you're able to see their spirit or their character as an ethereal kind of force, and you're able to hone in on the thing that they've taken a lot of care and time to get right and the thing that they're proud of. So when you can do that, when you can spot others' talents, gifts, abilities, and just also good character and call it out up front when you first meet someone, it breaks all the tension. It breaks all the awkwardness. It breaks all of that through. Follow it up with a joke. So compliment, bam. Then bring your personality and humor out. And if you can, follow it up with humor, because that's going to make the compliment again feel less awkward, even if it wasn't taken not awkwardly. Just feel it's going to slide nicely in with humor and the conversation is going to get started. And you can do that because you are charismatic. You are a person that enjoys meeting people. You enjoy the social side of life. And that is because you know how to work it. So, what I'm teaching you here are the skills on how to do networking so that you actually enjoy it, so that it's not this huge piece of weight that you carry around and you're like, I know I've got to do networking, whether it's for my business or for my job or just for my personal career advancement. We all know networking is important, yet we do quite a lot less than we should of it. And I think it's because of this fear of how awkward, time consuming, energy draining it can be because we don't actually know the skills and we don't practice the skills. So when you do this, you will see a big difference in the interactions you have, and you'll see the ease at which you can become this and the ease at which you can spot people's abilities, you can recognize the traits in them and the things they've done well, even if it is just as simple as your hair looks bloody amazing today. Well done. Well done. I saw you come in and I said, they have amazing hair. I've got to meet them. That it breaks the ice. Breaks the ice, but it's with a genuineness that is rare, because the genuineness isn't that other people haven't seen that. The genuineness that's rare means that you're calling it out. You are confident in yourself enough to go and call that out. And through that, it will create you an instant connection with someone. And from there, you can take the conversation wherever you want to go. And where you want to go is on them. So the first thing you're doing, the first thing that you're popping in is, how's it been? How have you been, mate? You're going there and you're going there first because the focus is on them. Again, it's almost like getting a series of firsts, a series of first one to compliment, first one to have some humor, first one to ask about them and open up the dialogue in their direction. These are all signaling things to the other person. And so you're breaking down barriers, but you're also building connection. And this is how it's done. So you want to be 111 and have those firsts. And you want to be looking at the person in their eyes. You want to be wanting to talk to them. This isn't passive. It isn't talking about how they are and then focusing on the crowd over there and seeing how else you've got. You are focused dead in on them. And you are relishing this time with them. You're thriving. You're in your element. And your energy and your soul and your being is focused on receiving what they're putting out. And That's a beautiful, calming, peaceful, humility-driven way to be. It's very gracious, and in that graciousness, you receive so much. I love humans. I love humans. I love people because people are so giving. Yet it's because society at this exact moment in time is full of chaos, full of speed, full of focus on growth at all costs, full of the pressure to move faster than we can mentally keep up with and not give ourselves space. Yet when you're in conversation with someone, you're allowing them the space for them to be really them. And this is how you create that. That's how you become a master networker. And when you do that, it's different because the world is full of distraction, fragmentation, detachment, and that's to do with technology. It's to do with the fight for our attention from advertising. It's to do with the pace at which things happen now, the constant interruptions, the pressures of life. If you're a millennial coming into your stride right now, your ultimate earning capacity, yet you're further behind than where your parents were in terms of economic prosperity due to the debasement of currencies, the inflation rate, the job market, the competitive nature of both technology and people, the exponential growth at which and the rate of change that things are happening now. So it's harder than ever from a purely average statistical look at the world. And so what you can do to differentiate yourself is focus on future-proofing your career with skills like learning like this, how to network, learning how to influence and negotiate effectively, how to sell, how to sell. If you can start to sell, you won't have any of those problems that statistically you should have being at the age that you're at. So carrying this forward, you're now in dialogue, you're asking questions, and you're carrying that humor, that sense of yourself through the conversation. You're being present and engaging in the person. You're really trying to make this a more light, fun experience so that being around you is rewarding for the other person. That's another psychological trick or way to influence is that when someone spends time with you, you are a fun person to be with. You focus on the light, the positivity, you radiate abundance and possibility. And because of that, the other person is drawn to you. They have an enjoyable experience being in your company. And because you create the space for them to take it wherever they want, they can be more vulnerable, which means you can increase the trust between you two and the connection because you've got the space there. So they can take the conversation any which way they want. And if they say to you, actually, mate, things haven't been so great. I've been laid off, or I've had a really difficult time with this client, or I've been absolutely back against the wall, flogging it at work, like I'm absolutely done in. You know, they can open up and share these real moments with you, and it's these real moments that embrace the connection that you've now established, and that increases trust, which then in turn means that because you're being present and you're able to focus on them, you're able to actually pick up what they're putting down and then be flexible and orientate to that to provide whatever might be needed in the situation. And that might be advice. It might just be an ear to listen, or it might be you spending some time to really help them figure out a plan and unpick this, or just bounce some ideas off you. And that's great. Why? Because when you do that, you can recognize the good in them as well. So not only are we complimenting and finding the thing, we're going to use that as a theme throughout our networking and throughout any relationship that we're building to be able to understand who they are as an individual. What do they want? What are they looking for? What makes them tick? And then what have they got that they do really well that you can recognize? And when you do that, you breathe life into them. And again, this moves them closer to you. This isn't manipulation. This is human psychology and influence. And it's also character building for you because being able to be someone that recognizes the good in others, just with everyone, whether you've met someone for the first time or whether you're meeting someone for the 10th time, but being able to continually do that, it shapes your perception of the world. And when you perceive the world through those eyes and that lens, it gets better, it gets more abundant, and it gets more possible because you can spot opportunities. And because you're recognizing and almost giving light and happiness to someone else, you find it in yourself. It's this very interesting mechanism. When we give the thing that we ultimately want, we end up finding it for ourselves. And that has been this profound moment of truth for myself, to understand that it's in doing that. You're not necessarily fixing the situation for them. You're not necessarily having to find answers for them. You're just being there and recognizing their unique differences, their skills, their abilities, and who they are at their very core. And you see them, and being able to see them and provide something human for them that no one else is doing, right? No one else is able to go there with such mastery. But because you are a master of networking and relationship building, you have the ability to create that trust and that space. And that's because you allow it for yourself, right? Because you allow that space and you have that compassion to yourself, you can actually give it to other people. And in giving it to other people, it teaches you how to give it back to yourself. It's a bit like, and this is me getting quite vulnerable here, when you carry shame about things that you've done in your past or things that have happened to you in your past, shame, guilt, just situations, and you carry the weight of that and you don't understand that you're human, you're not supposed to be perfect, and you don't forgive yourself for it, and you're actually letting ego take over again, because you're preventing yourself from actually being okay with the thing and letting it go. We've talked about this in other episodes. And so that'll weigh you down, and it'll actually eat you alive if you let it. That will eat you alive. It's a killer. It will eat you alive if you don't get a handle on it. Understand that everybody goes through things. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody messes up. Everybody does things that they'd rather have not. And they have a choice. And the choice is either you understand that and you realize that you're all about growth and improvement, and life is a journey, and the journey of success isn't the destination. If it is, it will evade you. Life has a very funny way of thinking. When you think you've made it in air quotes, when you think you've made it, life has a very clever way of shutting some doors and just giving you that humility lesson that you haven't learned. So life is a journey, and the journey is the success. It's the continual pursuit of betterment of yourself. So if that's the case, you have to get rid of your ego that's saying, oh no, we should be hung up on all these things and have shame around all these things that happened. That's ego. It's very ego-based to think that that's what's important, when actually what's really important is to stop punishing yourself for things of old that maybe at the time were helpful, because the punishment that you gave yourself guided you to make better decisions next time, but now it's no longer needed. And you can see this in other people. And so sometimes when you're talking to people, you allow them, through your own example, to give them permission to themselves to let go of some of these baggages that they have. And so you never know who you're inspiring just by being there and by being you. And you never know who you're inspiring by being able to pick up on people's inner self, like who they truly are and their gifts. So I would encourage you to use this strategy when you're networking. Get out of your comfort zone and go meet some people, and do it in a way that isn't doubting, right? What do I mean by that? I mean, have clear direction for this. Say, look, I'm going to tell you a story. Can I take 5 minutes and tell you this story? And when you do that, what you're doing is you're setting up front the expectation. It's not going to take long. It's a 5-minute thing. And you're giving yourself and them respect in asking for permission. And doing that, people love to know where you're going to take them. It's a bit like setting an agenda in a meeting. It shows respect to everyone that's going to attend the meeting, but it also decreases this unknown part of what's going to be brought up in the meeting, and what if it has a lot of unknowns and doubts and anxieties, and that starts to build, and that creates resistance. When you're able to just, look, I've got a story. Can I take 5 minutes now just to talk you through how we handled that at our company? Or I have one for you. 5 minutes. This is going to be gold. And you set the tone, and you set the respect in that. So there are so many ways that you can show respect to the other person, and that ends up coming back to you. So you set the tone of how you want to be treated by the way you treat others. Again, it's this situation of giving what you'd like to receive without being desperate if it doesn't come from that person. That means that you may give out something, but it's not necessarily kind of come back to you from that person, but it will come back to you in another way. Practice these skills. Practice being able to walk into a room, find someone, compliment them, use humor, and then get onto the topic of them and open up that dialogue. Practice that 1, 2, 3 step, being 1, 1, 1. You want to be the first to give a compliment, the first to use humor, and the first to ask a question that's focused on them. And with that, you're teeing it up to breathe life into your networking. And from there, you'll see how you being charismatic, fun to be around, not just fun as in silly, fun as in positive, fun as in optimistic, fun as in seeing the light in others. It allows you to draw people closer, to be a magnet, to have almost like a group of loyal fans and advocates that will go to bat for you to say, you're a top bloke or you're a top woman. I love hanging out with you. And that's what you want. So we've got 2 things for you here at the School of Success and the Tim Castle Show. And one is the School of Success, where you can learn skills of the future and future-proof your career and your business. And the second is signing up to the newsletter, because we send out weekly tips on how to enjoy life more, live a better life, have a better mindset around everything that you're going through, find fulfillment. And not only that, but we have this podcast for a reason. And it's to really help spread the message, the Believe It Is Possible message, to get the word out to people that might need it, especially in these fearful times when things are happening unexpectedly and usually for our better. We need to know that things happen for a reason and they're happening for the better, and that we have a choice to make into how we can do that. And often we'll look back in life and go, wow, that was a time I was really doubting that this was happening for me, but it actually was. So take faith in that. Know that the life is being created for you, that you're meant to be here. You have a great purpose. You have a great future ahead. And I'll see you on the next episode.